I just want to know what is spirituality and stuff. What does it mean to you?
Sorry, say that again. I didn't hear
Yeah, I'm
it.
gonna pull my mic maybe closer.
I'm
So
sorry.
spirituality. What does it mean to you?
Yeah. Well, what does it mean? Good question. For me, I've been came across that when I was like a little kid. My parents are Buddhist, so I started meditating quite early on, and by then it was mostly, my dad was a Catholic,
Mm.
so I had this feeling of like, oh, I have to meditate and be serious about it and be a decent human being. And that puts a lot of pressure on you. And if I look today, like a lot of people, um, spirituality, there's so many things around it,
Yeah.
so many, ideas, and so many people think they have to take, ayahuasca in order to get enlightened and all that. And the more I really try to focus on, or live a spiritual life, if you want to call it that way, is to really forgive yourself for whoever you are. Like in the end, it comes down to who are you, because you're the only one you know, and it basically comes down to become peaceful with yourself,
Mm.
and peaceful with yourself, meaning you become peaceful with your surroundings, because whatever you see outside of you is nothing than your perception of what's around you. So, yeah,
Okay.
you can always help me. Right? My brain is like always going in different directions at the
That's all
same
right.
time.
It's not. No, that's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah.
Like I like the mantra. I tell myself a lot. Like there's one person in the room. There's like you said, one energy. We
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah. Uh, so like, were you always spiritual, or would you call your like when you like introduce yourself, do you say I'm spiritual, not religious, or what do you say about yourself if people ask?
If people ask me, um, yeah, it's really hard. The more I think it really trying to be spiritual, you become really humble.
Mm.
Um, I don't really say to people I'm spiritual. Like, I mean, when are you and when aren't you, right? Um, my approach is just like to try to see why do I have certain resistances or
Mm.
issues or problems
Mm.
showing up, like no matter where I am. So for me, the most important thing is to not make anything, any circumstance, anything that happens in your life, the, don't look for a reason to why it is that way or try to change the outside circumstances. Um, for me, the most important thing is to look inside of you. Why do you react a certain way?
Mm.
So, let's say your mom tells you something, you get pissed. Like, okay, so you can hate your mom or get upset, or you can ask yourself, okay, what is it that makes me feel that way? And if you get angry, don't hate yourself for it, or don't try to fix yourself, but just allow yourself to recognize it and realize what's behind it. And mostly it's some kind of mostly it's an old pain,
Mm.
belief pattern we picked up, like you can't do that, or don't be always loud. um, Sorry, there's a car passing.
No problem.
um, you know
Do you have
don't dream. Sorry.
do you have like a personal example, something like where you examined something that you got maybe triggered, and you went within and
Oh yeah. Oh, I tons. Yeah. There was one point. So I've been traveling for about 4 years, trying to figure out what my purpose is in life,
oh
and
wow.
where I want to go with my life. I had everything. I was a teacher. I had a beautiful girlfriend. Was good in soccer. Talented musician. but it just, you know, pushed me to go and travel. So I traveled trying to figure out what the point is of my existence. And I remember one point um, where I finally, you know, got this. Like, and I think it's really important to not think, you know, like, oh, okay, I have to do this and then that. It's really like to grasp it with your body, you know, to like fully understand it. I don't know if I did, but that was one moment where it just, you know, it feels right. So I was laying on the beach. Sorry, there's wind. Can you
Yeah.
hear? I'm very sorry about all that. I was laying on the beach and I, you know, had diarrhea for about a month and
Oh man.
was doing this and trying that and, you know, not eating and eating just rice and whatever, and nothing helped. And it got better after a month for a couple of days, and then like 3 days later it hit again, and, you know, vomiting and all that. And I was just laying on the beach for like probably 3 hours, and I had this feeling of like, I'm done. Like, if this is life, I'm done. And I so imagined God, you know.
Mhm.
And it's kind of weird for me to think about that and talk to God, because, you know, my dad is so against church after what he went through. And but so I said, like, God, if this really is life, and if you really make me feel all this and go through all this, then fuck you, I'm done. You know, and I really meant it, like,
Mhm.
fuck you. And I had this, you know, insight of like, wow, finally I allow myself to be okay with how I feel about things. You know, it was this fear of, oh, I cannot be angry at God. Like, you know, we're all divine beings, so there's nothing really wrong. It's just I had to learn to forgive myself for feeling these things, or thinking these things. So that was one of these moments.
And so do you feel like you called upon like that disease to, like, there was like a shift in your life?
In that moment, yeah. I mean, it's been a progress the last couple of years, and I think it's been for many people, yeah.
Mm.
And
Was
that
that
was one of these moments.
was it like
Yeah.
would you call it like a dark night of the soul kind of thing? Like a dark night of the soul?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very dark. It was very, um, you know, it just really, like, inside you feel like I'm done. And it's hard to explain, but
Well, no,
there was no.
I actually I had something similar happen to me.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I was going to an acting college, and I was really mistreated there. I wasn't feeling my best, and I got the flu, and I never get sick, you know. And
Yeah.
I literally felt like I was dying. I don't think it was as bad as yours, but I did, like, for my personal experience, I literally thought like the room was spinning. I was like laying in my bed. I felt like, you know, I was on death's door. Like, I never felt that
Wow.
bad. And
Yeah.
that was like, you know, I can't keep going on like this. You know, something has to shift in my mind. And
Yeah. Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that, that's where I felt like a major shift. Not like, you know, it wasn't like night and day, but that's where like the turning point was. So do you think like,
That's cool.
yeah, do you think
Yeah.
those kinds of moments, like, you know, our suffering, you know, can transform into something good?
I think it is. Because you know what it did for me was to really be nice to myself. Like, you know, take a
Mm.
step back from who I think I am, and you know, forgive myself. That's really what it can, and also surrender. It
Mm.
was a moment of, like, you know, I mean, death is probably our biggest fear,
Mm.
and as you describe in your experience, being like, I mean, you know, I've been sick for a month. It's not that crazy, but and you had a flu, but you experienced this, like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die, and it's a very real threat. And I think everybody who experiences that kind of gets a different perspective on life, and especially if you surrender to the fact of, okay, I'm gonna die at some point.
Mm. So you're like,
Yeah.
you're okay, like you've accepted the fact, like we're gonna pass away. Like there's no fear, or
No, there is.
there's.
There is, yeah. Because it happened like 2, 3 times like after that, and the fear is still there, but it's actually the biggest part of the fear is my family and my friends. I'm more concerned about them actually than about me, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but um, the fear is still there, but I also learned to you know take every day as a gift. Once you experience that, you probably you don't get rid of your fear, but you appreciate life maybe a little more.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't know.
And uh so you in your blog post you said you come across like a doctor, like a shaman, right?
Yeah.
And so how has he helped you? What does he do?
So he's been studying theology, psychology, and tropical medicine. So he has quite some knowledge about various parts. And so what I've been studying with him, um, it goes into like so what really helps me is EMF, emotional, or EFT, emotional freedom technique. So
Oh,
it's like
cool.
the like tapping
Mm.
and really not go into your mind of why something happens or why you feel a certain way, but just like feeling it,
Mm.
because your body is very, very accurate. Like fears, anxieties, you feel it in your could be your blood pressure, the senses in your body, especially your breath, um, and so he helps mainly with that, like helping me to see that it's okay to be me.
Mm.
Uh, so whenever my brain gets crazy and goes into these patterns, and
Mm.
I get really anxious about little things. He kind of like helps me to go back in my body and just breathe and allow it to be.
Yeah. So,
Allow.
how would you do that? Let's say you know you're feeling anxious about something. What would you do? So, like how what is like emotional freedom tapping? Would you like tap some parts of your body, right? Like,
Yeah, there's meridians, so you can tap your wrist
mm.
on the side. You can look it up on YouTube. There's meridians on your head. So there's one here, yeah, these points, and you tap them. And while tapping, you tell yourself, even though complete fuck off, or even though I hate myself,
Mm.
even though I don't like my parents, even though I don't know anything about life, I don't know what to do with my life, or even though I'm anxious and hopeless, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Mm.
And so you do that several times and just have a look how you feel. So maybe the first time, like I'm really anxious, or even though I'm really anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you tap, and maybe from 1 to 10 emotionally, the anxiousness is still on a 10. But you do it several times, and you really see people, and suddenly like they take this releasing breath, or they start smiling, or some tears show up. Uh, and I don't know the details of what it does, but it has to do with meridians or energy flow in your body and your subconscious, allowing or accepting the fact that even though you are anxious, you still appreciate yourself.
Oh,
Yeah, so it comes back to this: forgive yourself for whoever you are. Yeah.
yeah. That's, I think, one of the biggest blocks I think people have is just accepting themselves for what they are, who they are.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so, do you feel like that most of the time, or all the time that it's accepting self
Uh, More and more, yeah.
more and more?
Because it doesn't make sense, we're so hard on ourselves, and I think it's probably a never-ending story. at least for me so far. But it gets better and better. So the more I, learn instead of focusing on beating myself up, going through these mind patterns of what's bad about me and what I should do better, and what I didn't do in the past, what I did wrong in the past. Instead of going into these patterns every time I realize it, um, I'm like, oh, okay, Sebastian, I think you need some, you need a hug from yourself, or someone would, like, as if I would talk to myself. And so I take a step back and ask myself, like, what is really going? So what
Hmm.
is really, uh, you know, behind all this? And mostly it's an inner fear of being rejected, of losing control, and then allow these things to be. So I'm not over everything. I still have my fears, my doubts, my
Yeah.
anxieties. I feel, my anger, and these are all good emotions. They're normal. They're part of our existence. But yeah, again, I just try to be nice to myself and have a look at the deeper reason behind it.
Mm. So, what would you say has been like the biggest change in your life, like a positive change that you've experienced?
Um, oof, it's hard to say. It was kind of a 4 year um, progress,
Hmm.
probably. Well, there was another point. Uh, Maybe it started with my ex-girlfriend.
Hmm.
She got pregnant, and she decided, or we decided, not to have a kid.
Oh.
And that was very tough for me. Like, to, I always thought, like, okay, if you get someone pregnant, you should be able to have a kid.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and we were, but somehow we decided to not have it, and that was a wake up for me to, like, okay, I gotta change. I gotta figure out what I want in my life. It just,
Wow.
it kind of uh, woke me up in a weird way.
Hmm.
Because it's like, okay, this is where I was heading. And I knew I wanted to travel. And this kind of like woke up, like, if I don't do it, like,
Hmm.
become a kid in your life, then you're not able to. So it kind of helped me to be, okay, I really have to focus or think about, what are my dreams? What do I really want to do in my life? And, you know, it's been a journey ever since, but I feel better every day
Wow.
because I, respect myself for doing what
Hmm.
I really would like, or
That,
figuring it out if you
mm,
don't know.
yeah. But that for me, it sounds like it can be like a really terrifying experience when you find out like she's pregnant. And what was going through your mind at that time?
Oh, I remember it. It was, yeah, Christmas Day, December 25th, and
Uh,
she texted me. She said, like, oh, we might have a problem. And I was like, oh, I kind of know what's coming.
hmm.
Um, so she told me that, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I remember watching, I'm sorry, it's so loud. I was right in front of my house, and I looked at the chimney. And I thought, okay, this is going to change my life, no matter what, like, forever. Uh, and then, of course, it was, turmoil. Like, okay, what do I do? Like, either way, I'm kind of fucked. If I have the kid, I didn't expect to have one, so my whole life will change.
Hmm.
If I don't have it, how can I forgive myself for, you know, not allowing a kid in this world?
Mm.
Uh, so it was stressful. Stressful Christmas.
Man, I can't
And
I can't even imagine that because and how old were you when that happened?
I was, it was 2014, or Christmas 2013. That's 25, I guess. Yeah.
25. Wow. Okay, so like 2 years older than I am right now. I'm 23. So, wow,
Yeah.
that's quite a wow. It's quite a shock, man. And just the gravity of it, like you said, like. there's not a win, win-win. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and then also I told my mom, and then she feels lame, and but what with these situations. So if any of you that are listening, uh, you go through these horrifying experiences, they teach you to become more compassionate about people.
mm,
For me now, I don't really judge people if they do abortion or decide to have an abortion because I kind of can grasp what they go through. Yeah. So it's in the end helps me to become less judgmental about other people.
mm.
That makes sense.
And so, what would you say was maybe like one of your biggest blocks when it come when I say blocks, like a limitation you had upon yourself, maybe something you felt like you couldn't change, but you did change. Did you experience something like that where you had like a big
Sorry, you
limitation?
cut out.
Sorry. uh, did you ever experience like a big change? Or when I say like a limitation, like maybe you had a limitation upon yourself, a negative belief, something like that about yourself that you completely changed.
Oh yeah, there's well, I didn't completely change it yet. But, to believe that I'm not good enough. Yeah, but believe I need approval
Mm-hmm.
from outside, from you know, parents, teachers, friends. Um, that really kept me immobilized. Like, I wouldn't perform. I thought I'm not good enough, so I wouldn't perform well. I would freeze in front of people. I wouldn't pursue my dreams simply because I had to believe if I'm not good enough, unless somebody else tells me. And no matter how many
Mm.
people told me, I never believed it. Many people told me.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like the biggest change for me is not expecting approval.
Okay. And how did you transcend that? Not needing that approval anymore.
So let's say you talk to someone and you try to make a joke and this person would laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And you might tell yourself, oh, that must be funny. Oh, that must have been a shit joke.
Mm.
But instead of going into these thoughts, you tell yourself like, oh well, I tried to be funny, or I thought it was funny, or and you give yourself the approval you're looking for, right?
Mm.
So you don't need that from outside. Or let's say,
Mm.
you wanna a dream of you is to sing in front of people, um, or yeah. Um, well, maybe I'll come up with a good example.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that easy, but it initially goes back to taking power back and become fully sufficient with yourself. Yeah, so that is my biggest change. So every time I feel this need for approval, to step back and try to give myself that approval.
Is it that just that simple? Simple, you think? Like you feel a lack of approval, and you just give it to yourself?
I don't know. Um, that's my goal. So to probably not.
Mm.
It's hard. I can't say that works for everybody.
Mm.
But I've been approval seeking for quite some time, and it helps me to also let go of those thinking and trying to figure out what
Mm.
everybody else is,
Mm.
because that will never lead you to a place where you are fully happy with yourself, and B to a place where you are yourself. base your actions and reactions on reactions from outside. So what helps me with it is I just, I do something, people might not like it, and I forgive myself for being or reacting back the way I do, and I become less affected by other people's opinions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Does that
think,
make sense?
well, I think because I think a lot of people, well, um, I could say from personal experience, like you hide your gifts or your expression because you're afraid of what other people are going to think, or you don't make a decision because of what if, what are they going to say? And
Exactly.
it gets kind of crazy when you think like when, when you realize, okay, we have this, uh, well, I do believe we're infinite beings, but still we have like, this one lifetime right now, you know, like you're gonna, that you're not gonna, what's the excuse? We're gonna leave this place anyway.
Well, imagine how free you become when you depend on, your neighbor finally being okay with, the color of your house, or your friends finally getting who you are. Like, you don't have to wait for that. You become incredibly free because you can do whatever you want, whatever, and feel good about yourself. I think that's what feel good about yourself. Especially Europeans, like France, Switzerland, um, German culture, they're close to it. You might know it. I don't know. I've never been to Poland. It's very serious. You gotta do this. Oh, God. Oh, good. Yeah, you have to be kind. Very, very strict, very demanding. Very good, but I think a lot of people themselves to, their own extent.
Mm.
Don't feel good about it. You get stuck in these jobs and relationships and lifestyle. You don't feel good about it, but you do it because their mom and dad wants them to be that way, and society tells them to be that way. But you got your life and you got you.
Yeah, and I think goes kind of into, like the Matrix, like the movie, but also like the idea of,
Yeah,
we're being told, go to school, go to university, then get a job, and then work 30, 40 years and then retire, and there's nothing else you can do.
yeah.
I used to really fight against that, like when I became quote unquote, awake, whatever that means to people, um
Yeah.
I still, I still believe it, like I work, I'm doing like
Yeah.
kind of counseling, and I also teach English. Well, and I have other clients, with this lady, she wanted to have another kid, but she said, okay, I'll have a kid if my company promotes me, and I'll get, more money so that I can, I'm like, so you're putting life on the line where the company goes,
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is absolutely crazy. Like, you're giving all your power, to them, and it's not just her. It's like, like this lady, she want to have like a business, and it's like, but I work from 9 to 5, and I only have like 2 hours, and then I have to like work on my business and I eat. I'm like this is crazy, and it's like normal, and it's the thing is, I don't want to fight against it because when you fight, you resist, you gain more, but still, it's like you see it, So what are your thoughts on that? Like the matrix kind of reality.
Oh, I think it's very real,
Mm-hmm.
and really about it is they, so my go-to is there's a certain group of people they gain power, and through having power, they kind of need more power because the ego always tells you have to have more something else. So
Mm-hmm.
I think these people are very stuck in their situation, and we're so far, like as of right now, I think become a political fight, left and right, and it's a mad world. people, I think there's more and more people like literally waking up and realizing, oh, maybe these things we see in TV and these things we hear in the news and things that school teaches us are not reality, they're not real.
Mm.
Or, it's literally just to manipulate our brains and implement fears and anxieties so we keep being in that system.
Mm. Yeah.
And they use crazy methods. It goes into energy, like, your consciousness has to alter, or, maybe have to, hinder you from becoming conscious of these things. Yeah, I mean, fear is a very, very strong emotion. So people don't do things because of fear. People do
Yeah.
things because of fear. And so I'm living here in a third world country, and it's pretty crazy to see how it goes here. How life is here, and how it's based on decisions from a few people.
Mm.
Yeah. So for me, it's very real. But then also, like, my take is I don't hate these people, uh, and I don't hate the situation. It
Mm.
doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Matrix. I think it is very real, and once you start to waking up, whether it be through looking at cryptocurrencies or checking out who Q is, or watch one of these
Okay.
movies on
Yeah.
YouTube.
QAnon.
Yeah.
Are you into that too? Like.
I mean, I look at it every now and then. I'm not
Mhm.
really, really, don't ask me anything about it. It might
Okay.
be wrong what I
No.
say, but
No,
I know what's going on.
no, I have a friend that's kind of into that, and another one that's into cryptocurrency as well. It's kind of
Yeah.
synchronistic. That's cool. So what would you tell somebody that they feel trapped, like in the matrix? They got the job, maybe they have kids, and they don't
Yeah.
feel like they're.
So ancient Mayans and other religion or cultures, they say that every 26,000 years we go into a new sun cycle, and we just did that. So they call it the new age of Aquarius, or the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which is like community and technology helping to build new, a new kind of life form. So I think what happens is just, collective consciousness shifting. And if you don't look at your own shit, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, like the world might be crumbled, and or the world how we knew it is gonna fade away, and it's gonna be tough for people who try to hold onto certain beliefs that no longer serve them. Yeah.
Mm.
So my tip for anybody is, sorry, there's another car and dogs. I really hope you can hear all this. But okay. I'm really sorry about that.
It's no problem. It's no problem. Okay. And like, so you've been
Um,
saying like you've been doing this traveling and all this to find your purpose. Have you come closer to that? Have you? You feel like you found out your purpose?
I'm about to, I guess. Yeah.
I'm about to.
I'm trying, different things. Um, logging, trading, finding rocks and rivers, learning about that, learning about free energy. And I've tried to figure out what to unlock to you.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes you get
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning? Where do you feel? And I think it's a mix of everything. I think I just have to be okay with maybe my purpose is do 17 different things in a day and not really get anywhere right now. And that's my big lesson for me. Maybe my purpose
Mm-hmm.
is to live, not trying to seek it.
Ah, okay. Well, have you ever heard of the Dharma types?
I've heard of it, but I never really looked into it.
Okay. Um, Well, there's a great book. It's called The Five Dharma Types by Simon Chofsky. I read it, and actually, he offers like Ayurvedic readings. Like you tell your birth, and he gives you like really big like reading about like your calendar, what kind of dharma type you are. So there's five. There's the warrior, laborer,
Yeah,
educator, merchant, and outsider. And if you could just tell by the names, they have a different connotation. And for me, it really, really resonated. Like,
yeah,
um, I'm an outsider playing an educator, which means like educators, they're here for counseling and healing, but outsiders, they like to mix things. Like, it's like Tex-Mex, Texas food, Mexican food. You bring it together, it's a great thing, right? And it's like with me,
yeah,
I'm bringing
yeah,
like life coaching, energy healing into one thing, and yeah, it really helps me. So maybe you want
yeah.
to check that book out, or maybe book a session with him. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Um, I just reminds me of esoteric astrology. I know the name is fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
esoteric astrology, but so I've been looking into numerology, astrology, Mayan astrology, and the more and more I look into it, the more I think, we're all,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a computer program, but I think it's some kind of a program we are living, and we have certain imprints um, from a numerology perspective, and your name has a certain number, which is your life lesson, etc. Um, esoteric astrology, the time you're born, that stuff.
Yeah.
The moon is in a certain area. There's also like 7 rays of different solar systems,
Mm.
like the Pleiadians and stuff, and that affects your personality. And there's like, you know, your soul, and there's your personality, and your soul has a certain purpose, and we are not really in control of that.
Mm.
And our personality kind of tries to, manipulate, control this, and that's the whole fight that's going on. Um,
Yeah.
your soul knows what to do, and that's what feels right. But your ego kind of like, no, I can't, or no, I shouldn't, or whatever reason to hold you back from what your purpose is. And I think that's like would be my advice: is go where it feels right. Like the answer if you really listen.
Yeah.
If you listen to your emotions.
Yeah. Definitely. I think we do have that guidance, like our excitement, our inspiration, and we followed that. That I think that gives us, like I feel really inspired to read that book. To get that reading. It was just
Yeah.
and yeah. I think I need to go. Someone's at the door, but I think this is a good place to end it. It was really nice talking to you, man, and I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Thank you very much.
great product for my listeners. So I'm gonna put this in, make a little video, and yeah. If you
All
ever
right.
want to feel like talking again, maybe a little bit quieter
Yeah,
place.
I'd love.
But
I'm really sorry. It's like just for all the people who are really annoyed about the noises. So first of all, I just got this phone yesterday because my old phone fell into water, and all that. And then it's really hard to get Wi-Fi here. And I live in a house with the doctor and a lot of people, so
yeah.
it's hard to find a quiet place. But I hope I can next time.
Okay.
Really.
No, it's no problem. But thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and
Yeah, thank you. Thank
take
you very
care,
much
man.
too.
Take care,
You
and
too.
God bless.
All right. Have
See
a
you, man.
good time, man.